Yeah. Oh my goodness. Hello. Happy Tuesday to all of you. I hope you've had an incredible start to your week. I know that we are winding down to our final days of our Breaking Beyond live event. Some of you are going to be there. I can't wait to get up close and connect with you in this really powerful, one-of-a-kind experiences. If you have not got your tickets, I make sure to grab them today, because after today, we are closing down things. So make sure that you're grabbing your tickets, and make sure that you use the code. Here, this is the code. Use the code Terry VIP. Come join us. No excuses. No excuses. All right, my friends. Okay, here we go. Anytime I get a conversation that happens multiple times, I am no joke, from this week, and it's only Tuesday. These are all the ideas that have come up to me about different topic ideas. And so this one that we're talking about is no different. And it's all about the greatest gift that you can give and, in my opinion, receive. Okay. And I would, if you're an entrepreneur or business owner or boss woman, and you're like, you know what, I'm going to disagree with that, I dare you to challenge me on the greatest gift that we can receive. And that is this. I think the greatest gift that we can give and or receive as an entrepreneur is, ready for it? Are you ready for it? Yes, it's support. It is support. And support is shown up in lots of different ways. I'm going to make this a really quick Facebook Live tonight because, or a live tonight because I'm actually going to go out and create something for the event. And so you guys are in for a treat, I'm telling you. But the greatest gift that we can give or receive is support. And that can be our emotional support. So think about any of your colleagues, friends, neighbors, family members that are entrepreneurs, and think about, just like you, maybe they've reached out to you. Have you been able to give them emotional support? Maybe it's just, honestly, maybe it's just being that cheerleader for them. You got this. You can continue on, because it can be a lonely journey. And also, what I'd invite you to do is look at, if you're an entrepreneur or a business owner, what is it that you need? And I invite us to break beyond the blocks that we have about supporting one another. Conversation came up last week. So had 2 today and 1 last week. And some of the examples were just not feeling supported by their family, by the community, right? Whether you're in, you have a product or service, or you're in direct sales. I think there's this, oh my gosh, my friend's a business owner. They're going to try to sell me. They're going to try to, want me to support them. And oftentimes, and I get that that's true in like any environment where there's going to be people asking for that. But I think in the most part, in the beginning, entrepreneur world, maybe asking some support, for people, it's not out of ill intention. And as we evolve, it's funny because I think it was at my book launch. So that was back in like 2000. That might have been 2017 or 18 when I did my book launch. And I remember a good friend of mine. She's been friends with me for about 9-10 years. And she's like, I had no idea that you had a successful business. And it dawned on me that, like, oh my goodness, like, why would she know that? Because I don't talk to her about that. I don't talk about business. And I think sometimes in the entrepreneur world, we get into these silos of like, okay, I can only talk to, these people because they get me. And there's an element of that. But there's also an element of, opening up those doors to allow other people to support us. Because I think sometimes we'll put the Lone Ranger mask on. I know I did. That's just me. I put the Lone Ranger mask on for years and years and years, and just been like, okay, no one's going to help me. No one's going to support me, and I think in doing so, we actually block people from supporting us, block from people, offering that encouragement or support. And so if you're an entrepreneur and if there's something that you need or from, or a request from, friends, family, supports, ask for it. Okay. And if you're on the other side and you have a friend that is an entrepreneur and you're like, how can I support you? Those are probably the best words, the best statement or the question you could ever ask somebody. It's like, how can I support you? And they may say nothing, right? But they may also say, hey, you can support me by doing X. You can support me by doing Y. You can support me by doing this. Because these examples that came up, this individual has a product and service that's really cool. And she's been faced with, I'm trying to find this ways to put this nicely. She's been faced with the challenge of almost like a sense of jealousy from some of her close peers. And so they won't support her. And I invite us to move beyond that from an energetic perspective, from a physical perspective, from just a human to a human perspective, is if we're experiencing, being envy or, being jealous, like what is that that's showing up for us? And can we move beyond that so that we can support each and every one of us? Because I think, especially and this is the examples was around women supporting women, right? I think sometimes we can get in our heads and we can get into that scarcity mindset or that limitation of, oh my gosh, I'm not going to support her because, because she's going to be more successful, or I'm not going to support this because blah, blah, blah. Right. And I invite us to look beyond that. Right. At our event this Saturday, we're going to be moving beyond to lots of different things, but there's some of these blinders that we have on, these goggles, if you will, that prevent us from really being truly expansive in the world. And so if we can look at our own stuff and be like, okay, why am I not supporting this person? Why? And it could be a value thing. It could be, something like that, but it could be just be like, or actually, here's an example. This just come up for me this week. Have a really close friend, and there's this expectation that I'm supposed to show up to all of her events and support her. But then when I ask her to do something, like once out of every year, there's like this resistance, right? That's a great example, right? There's like this, the reciprocity, is not necessarily right. And so like, how can we support each other in what we're creating without jealousy, without, anger, like really just genuinely loving another person and helping support. So that's one thing, is just emotionally being there. The other thing is like mentoring, whether you're mentoring somebody else or whether you're being a mentee for somebody. I remember years ago when my mentor, I asked to have a mentor, and I reached out to this person, and this person's like, absolutely. Funny enough, I just spoke to him. It's been a couple years since we've talked. I just spoke to him this week. Was that yesterday? No, Friday. I spoke to him on Friday, and it was just so neat. We just picked back up, and and I asked him one time, I was like, what do you get out of this relationship? And he's like, I just get information, I get ideas, because you're coming from a different perspective. I'm coming from a different perspective. And so it's a beautiful thing. So whether you're mentoring someone or someone is mentoring you, it's a beautiful way to give and receive in a new, powerful way, in supporting another entrepreneur, right? This one's a good one. The next one is about celebrating successes. And this goes back to, what I just mentioned is like, how do we support each other without, getting ourselves, I don't know, like really being able to support someone's wings. And you can see this, okay? This happens a lot when I'm at events and they're doing a drawing, and the person who wins obviously is super excited. They're like, yay, right? And then everyone else is like, I can't believe I didn't win. Like, and they're not cheering or they're not supporting, right? Because they're like, well, I didn't win, right? And I think that's a great example. And you see that at almost all events I've been to, like there's some sort of element of that. I remember one time, this didn't happen very long ago. I remember this lady was, one of the ladies wanted. And then she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go ask her for, like, literally the lady went over and asked her if she could have, like, not kidding, not making this up. And I was just like, wow, that's really bold. That's really bold. But I'm going to switch this on to an energetic perspective. And this is going to go maybe some counterintuitive what we've been taught or how we've maybe shown up in the past. And that is when somebody wins, right? Let's cheer them on. Let's support them because, we'd like to do the same for us, right? And so, when we see someone else winning, and that could be winning at their, that could be someone, bumping up in their career path or getting a raise or getting a promotion and just really supporting them in that powerful, profound way of supporting them, and their achievements and not holding that back from us. And so if there's ever a time in your life where you're like, oh yes, I just wanted to like cheer this person on, like I'm going to invite you to do that. I'm going to invite you to do so and cheer this on because they're really setting the mark. I remember I had this mentor years in my life, years ago, actually when I was really young. And I remember in my head going, gosh, if they can do that, I can do that. And so it gave me permission. It gave me permission to be able to do that too. So celebrate people's wins, celebrate what they're doing, because when we are in alignment with that energy, we're actually calling it into our lives just as fast. And so versus us holding it back from somebody else. Okay. So celebrate people's successes, celebrating the wins, whether they're small wins, big wins, or anything in between. Starting to celebrate people's successes is really powerful. One of the meetings that I hold is we start with successes, and because I really believe in supporting one another in that way. And starting off in a powerful way, right? Because energetically, when we think about what we've done as our successes, it's like, yes, I did that, right? So, and the other thing is how you can support entrepreneurs, business owners, solopreneurs, small companies, is really providing some introductions. Let's say you know someone that could really help this business. Why not do the introduction, right? Why not connect people? At our event on Saturday, there's this individual I really wanted to be there because I'm like, oh my gosh, I have the perfect person for you guys to connect and your two worlds to connect at this event, because I just know there may be business that comes about I hope that there's business that comes, but besides that piece, I just think there's a great friendship and a great collaboration down the road for these two individuals. And so making introductions, no matter how big, small we perceive that to be, but if like, oh my gosh, that's another way you can support an entrepreneur, right? And then the last one is just being, their biggest fan, right? And that might look like, helping support them, promoting them, loving them on social media, supporting them in their launches, their book launch or their product launch, or, hey, I'm getting ready to roll out a new event, or supporting them in maybe they're doing a fundraiser or an awareness piece. Maybe they're getting on television or radio or podcasting or whatever that might be, whatever they are doing. And they are setting this path because entrepreneurs, it's really interesting because this is by choice, but it's also led and fueled by passion and the love of whatever that product or service is that they want to deliver. And oftentimes, it can be a lonely path. And so I think the more that we can support small businesses and support, what we're doing, it just is it's so important and so critical, especially with the topsy-turvy times that we've been in and are probably, we're not probably out of the woods yet with just all the stuff that's happening on with the job markets and, all the changes that are happening. And so I'm going to invite you, and I want you to think about, this is your homework, okay? I want everyone to take out the cell phones. And I want you to scroll through. And if you know of a friend, a family member, it doesn't matter, that own a business, that is a solopreneur or entrepreneur, I just want you to send a little love message and just say, I'm thinking of you. If there's anything I can do to support you, let me know. I would love to support what you're creating, right? Because this is the power of how movements start. right? If you've ever seen that video of where one individual, it's a video that's on Instagram, and they're out there dancing at a concert, and this one individual stands up and goes off to the grass and starts dancing by himself, having a good old time. And then pretty soon someone else, stranger, sees him and goes, I'm going to join him. He looks like having fun. So he goes and joins. And then pretty soon another person and another person and another person, until they've changed the energy, and they've engaged in this movement. And the movement ripples across, and then you see more and more and more and more people standing up and dancing, right? That's how movements start. That's the brave taking that step. And so if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening to me right now, I want you to know that I see you, I hear you, I support you in the big things that you are doing. And if you're not an entrepreneur, I'm going to invite you to be like, you know what? Who is that person that I can support? That small business owner, that local, florist, that local. We have a fabulous gift shop in our neighborhood that I support more often than my husband probably wants me to, right? But I want to support these small businesses because that's the heart of our community. That's the brave men and women that are doing some incredible things and bringing about whatever that mission and vision is for themselves and for the community, right? So that is the ripple effect, right? And so let's support as much as we possibly can. And we can do that by, like I said, the emotions, mentoring, celebrating success, introductions, and just promoting and supporting them on social media to really help get their message out. And if that's you, my friends, reach out to me. I'd love to support you. I'd love to be able to share your stuff out, honestly. So big hugs, everyone. I hope to see, I know some of you I'm going to be seeing at the event. Oh dear, I forgot to put this on there. So if you're wanting to join us, make sure that you click on the, right here. This is the best way to connect in the I didn't even put it in the comments. Let me just do this. I did. Let me just put it back in there again. And then use code RAVIP. And for those that are joining us, we have so many yummy things in store for you. I'm just excited because some of you know that I'm a gift giver. And so we have such amazing things planned throughout the day to keep it high energy, fun, on your feet, little surprises. That's going to make it a really powerful event and really help us start to break beyond those barriers. We're going to be having some powerful conversations. We're going to be having some powerful exercises. We're going to learn some tools and techniques that we can use to break beyond things and allow us to have that impact that we desire. So my friends, with that being said, massive love. And I can't wait to see you on Saturday. Make sure that you come up at the lunch hour and we'll get some pictures and we will get this party started. Yes or yes. All right, my friends. As always, be bold, be brave, be fearless, be the magic of you. Massive love, and I'll see you on Saturday. Mwah!